Hello everyone and welcome back to SIMseniors, to the SIMseniors Season 5 Championship, and back to Group 1. Now, you will have remembered last time out we started at Silverstone, and tonight we're heading off to Francorchamps. It's going to be a really good one tonight, of course, an iconic track on the calendar, an FIA Grade 1 circuit, 6,996 metres before the Renaults and 7,004 metres after. Let's look at the track, let's look at what we're dealing with, folks. But before that, we need to take a quick glance to the standings and see where we currently are. So as you can see some of the info for the track on screen, we can take a quick look at some of our drivers to watch, as we have James Hartnell in the Porsche 992 with 65 points, leading the gold class. David Lindblom is going to be taking second place in the 720S Evo with the Huracan Evo 2 of Richard Gasson taking P3 in the gold set. Unfortunately, we don't have any graphics to show you, but that is the championship as it stands. Adam Rios is going to be leading the silver class with Ed Brown and Sean O'Neill. And then you have in the bronze group, you have Justin Cutler, Dan Pacici, after a 15 points penalty, unfortunately gets dropped down to P2 despite his class win last time out, with Rich Arscombe taking third spot in the Aston Martin Vantage. But that is where we stand, and looking at the track tonight, for those who are familiar, you know the drill, but for those who are not, it is a 5-minute practice which drivers are doing right now as we speak, and then a 15-minute qualifying before the 60-minute race. 25 seconds pit stop for fuel, with an additional 5 seconds if they choose to go for tyres. The split between drivers is going to be gold, silver and bronze. Be sure to jump into the Discord, although make sure to jump on our Facebook group as well first, because that is where you'll be wanting to get your access. And feel free to support what we're doing here by following us on all the socials, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and all of that good stuff. But we're not going to waste much time here, folks. The 3 classes, 19 corners, in the heart of Belgium. It's Francorchamps, and we're about to head trackside. So without further ado, let's get ourselves trackside and let's get ourselves driving. Let's do this. Here we are, we jump straight in with one and only so we're having a little bit of on-stream hiccups, unfortunately, my apologies. We are jumping on with Ed Brown. So driver, we are taking a quick sort of look on board with the Helicam, EV Raceworks, and the beautiful Ferrari cruising around. You can see he's going to be jumping down, hitting the poo on here. A bit of a wide arc, but the important thing is he has a handle on the car and he's pushing it to every inch he can. This is going to be sort of the feeler of the race here, so let us know who you are pegging in the chat to be our winner for each class, the bronze, the silver and the gold class. We want to hear it all, so definitely let us know who you have got your eyes on. So we get ourselves set up and we can see a few drivers. See who we should be looking at. Everyone's mostly in the pits right now. They're just getting themselves geared up and ready. We've got Cutler though, current lead of the bronze championship. The one to look out for in the red numbers. A few more drivers out on track, but we are about to get ourselves into quali good and proper. So you won't want to be going anywhere, folks, because things are about to heat up big time. As the session for free practice has ended and quali is about to begin any minute now. It looks like FP times are getting themselves straightened out before we jump into the session. And a quick look at the FP times. Doesn't look like many drivers set some time out. They do have a bit of practice before this, but at least in the 5 minutes we don't really have any early reads. Expect us to have a little bit more reads on the competition. But here we go. It's quali, and everyone is out like a rocket. Nobody wants to be caught sleeping, and everyone wants to be out ASAP. See, exiting the GT pit lane. We take a quick look and look at Adam Rios, leader of the Silver Championship. The OMSR livery looking very sharp. Very sharp indeed, I must say. Looking forward to a few of the drivers here. Looking forward to seeing what they can do, what they can cook up. I think out leading the charge. If we take a quick look. Yeah, I think that is Dan Moffat. He's going to be our first car to go for a full lap. And I think we're going to jump on board with him just as he comes out the bus stop chicane. We're going to jump on board and kind of see what he does, how he's going to prep for his lap, and how he's going to absolutely fly. Let's jump on board with him here. Just remember, this isn't the F1 layout. We're not taking that pit lane, it's the one after, but the start-finish line is all the same, and Daniel Moffat's about to go for his first quali lap here. Heavy on the brakes as we switch to of a live drive view. Really ringing out every 100 RPM of that engine. Eau Rouge now, Radeon. Keeping it fully committed as you go right to left. Very nice. Down the Kemmel Straight now. What speeds are we going to be seeing? This is going to be a bit of a tell as to the setups here. 273 kilometers an hour. Then very heavy on the brakes. Lecum. Next couple of corners looking very clean, very sharp from Dan Moffat here. And Brissell. A little bit of a wider arc here, but does narrow it quite substantially. Turn 11 and then Pouon. All a little bit wide there. A little bit wide, but still a valid lap. Still got it thus far. Pouon now. High commitment. Very high commitment corner. Heavy leaning into the downforce of the car. Very nicely done. Campus. So keep it nice and tight, keep it nice and clean to the apexes, but don't overdo it. Easy on the throttle as you exit, and very nicely through Stavelot. And then really where you open up the taps is this final sector. Heading up into Blanchimont now, it's a full commitment, full throttle corner. You do not want to let up. You want to take as much speed as you can through there, really lean into the rubbering end of the circuit. Keeps it in track limit still. And then right down on the brakes, down to a crawl. Very nicely done. I no doubt is going to be a very hot set of brakes. An initial time from Dan Moffat The benchmark of the session so far, 2 minutes 17.6, immediately usurped by James Hartnell. Next couple of drivers heading down now. You've got Adam Rios. He's going to be posting 2:17.6 as well, putting himself just behind a Moffat. You've got Brown as well, another driver, along with Lindblom and Dave Marsh. Very successful runs here. You've got the likes of Trevor White down in the silver class, putting down some good times, and he's going to be making himself very comfortable in a P8 spot, 2:19 flat. Next couple of drivers to head on through. We've got a couple of the bronze class drivers. You've got Ricky Scotty for Omega Motorsport in the number 32 car, 27th position right now, but that is set to change as more drivers start to come through. How's Scotty going to do? How is he going to make the most of this one? Looking like a 2:20. Oh no, 2:19.9. Very good. Keeping himself just out of the 2:20s. And that is going to be a run that he needs in his pocket. John Gabbett now. Another bronze class driver. And as the rest of the field starts to set up and get themselves in points positions ahead of the main race. See some of the times on the board. People to watch: Adam Rios, of course, winner of our silver class, current championship holder, and one of the drivers who we know is going to be bearing teeth this session. A few more are starting to filter through now, but here we go. Back onto John Gabbett now as he rounds the final corner of the circuit. What is it going to be? It's going to be 21st. It's a 2:20.4, so close but no cigar, as one would say. You got Tomas Linatas. We're already coming to halfway through the quali session. It's crazy to think that we've really not seen a massive wave all at once, but it's been very even throughout the session. Remember, he's got 41 cars in this grid, or 40 other cars, so to speak, to contend with. Where's he going to land up? Crossing the line now. P12 with a 2:18.6. Very good. Very good run indeed from Linatus. That puts him net P5 in class. There's some good work being done here. Looks like we have got Jimmy Engdahl, who's making an improvement. About half a second. Very nicely done indeed. He is going to put himself in P5 and make it a 1-5 gold class split. Richard Gasson now, he's in a little bit of trouble because you look and you can see he's had to back off. He's had a car in front of him and he had no choice but to yield there, because that, I believe, was Scotty. Now, Scotty is on a lap. He is on a push lap here. What is he going to make of this one? He's a second up on his previous. He could get some really big points paying positions here if he sets himself up good in quali, and he's up to P22. Shaves the second up to 2:18.7. It's not quite enough yet, but we will be seeing those improvements increase. Steve Howes, pro/gold class driver, and you can see a few more are starting to really filter themselves towards the top end of the field. But here you go, Howes up to P27. That is another second gain. A big quali split here in Spa, because the drivers as a whole are not always landing their laps. We've got 10 drivers who have yet to formalize a lap, as we had a few more come through just now. Jumping on board quickly with Adam Rios, because he looks to be up on his time. I want to see how he handles the next sector here. Let's see how he handles this one. He is potentially coming up to traffic, so he's got to keep his wares about him. He's got to keep his awareness on top form. Let's see, what's he going to do, given the traffic that is in his face right now? That's Linatus. Is Linatus going to pose to him a credible threat? He is about a second down. Adam Rios coming across the line. Is it going to be an improvement? It is going to be an improvement. He's up to 2:17.3. A few more drivers are going to be following suit. Justin Cutler just made a massive improvement, and he's going to be going P9. Best in class. Closest is nearly a half-second down in Scott Cameron. So a few more drivers to watch out for. Paul Hamby. Oh, Paul Hamby. What has happened down here? I'm going to try and see what's going on here. See if we can get a little bit further of an insight. You can see you had the other Lamborghini just up ahead. Unfortunately, the replay has bugged out slightly, so he weren't able to catch it, but I do believe he just lost it coming out of Brussels and then collected Paul Hamby in the process. Unfortunate to see. I believe that was Gasson. So we got Sean O'Neill. Another driver making some substantial improvements. We've got only 5 minutes left in qualifying here, folks, so time is running out for these drivers. Sean O'Neill, P27, could see some big jumps here, and it's going to be up into P18. Very good performance there. Another one to look at, Craig Starkey, Season 4, second tier champion, or Pro-Am tier champion. He's got a chip on his shoulder after what happened round 1. Remember, he is in the silver class. And right now, he's only P6. He's wanted to defend his title. And he's going to have to defend it with an iron fist with the kind of competition we're seeing this season. There we are. Second and a half up. I don't know if it's valid. I think we saw a brief extension earlier. Yeah, that's invalid. That's unfortunate for him there. He was about a second and a half up. If he got that lap, he would have seen himself royally jumping a massive, massive gap on the field. Because we would have seen him jump into about P15. That would have been, yeah, about P15 according to my very, very accurate napkin math. Got Osterschars, of course, a very strong contender back in Silverstone. Sort of been in his own lane this time round, P19. But given the performances we saw last time out, I know for a fact he's going to be wanting to go that extra mile, do a little bit more. So a few more drivers out on the track now are heading back into the pits. They don't have necessarily the time, or in some cases they just blundered the lap. I'd rather get back into the pits, save themselves a trouble, because we've only got 2.5 minutes left now. Time is of the essence. Osterschars knows this well. P21 now, P22 as he's being demoted. I think that was Baldwin who just dropped him down a peg. Is Osterschars going to respond? 217.4 could land him in the top 10. He just needs to nail this final segment, and he does. P9. Excellent job there from the Porsche driver. Number 74, looking very, very composed. Very well done there. And a few more cars going to be set to take some good times. Dan Moffat's going to be one to watch, but we've got Ed Brown as well. P11 in the silver class, P3 in class. Is he going to be jumping any of his compatriots in the division? He's going to get up to P10, but it's not going to be enough. It's not quite close enough for him to be walking into that main battle with his two rivals. Luciano Molino, P39. As few more cars are jumping in. Remember, 1 minute 20 left in qualifying. So unless you're on a lap now, that is game over. And Molino is going to be the 1 or 2 places up from where he was before. P39 to P36. Not the biggest jump in the world, but it is enough. And those crucial places could mean everything come race time. And you got Ed Brown. 1 minute to go. And he's on the clock. This lap is the one that counts. This has to count. He doesn't have a choice. He's running out of options. We've got another that is going to be Pichichi, who has unfortunately invalidated. And with where he is on the track right now, he's not going to get another shot. So he's only going to be P2 in class. But he is outclassed pretty substantially by Justin Cutler. You've got just a tenth and a half between the two. And in fact, Trevor Waite and Pichichi have the exact same time on the boards. So they are only split by order. They're only split by order. Got a brief yellow coming out, a local yellow for parts of the track. Drivers heading back into the pit lane, abandoning their laps. And the checkered flag has officially fallen on Kawali. So now, unless you are on a lap, you are done. Ostracharge is down in P9. It's looking good for him there. And then a few more cars about to head down. You've got a wave of a fair few of them. For instance, you've got John Saunders, P14, number 110 car in the Aston Martin. Is he going to see an improvement here? It is an improvement. It's up to P11. Next up is Ed Brown, and he is going to be, I think, yielding slightly. But no, he's up in that P10 spot, at least, for the minute. You've got Francesco Becchetti, up into P10. What a rocketeering qualifying for him there. And you've got a few more others who are making some moves. Craig Starkey up in P23. You've got Wayne Bennett, P25. We've got Luciano Molino, P36 to P31. A few more cars out on the field. And then that is it. That is your quali over. And then we'll get into our race, folks. Actually, that is Raul Pasta, who's going to be seeing an invalidation. And, oh, that's Wayne Bennett. He's just, yep, he's down for the count. That is, unfortunately, him down for the count. Only 2 drivers, oh, no, I should say, only 4 drivers left, and the only one actually gaining time is Neil Bywater. There's a couple of the tenths up. If he nails this last sector, could see an improvement, and he does see an improvement. P38 to P33. Very good job there from him. Nicely done indeed. Although looks to be, I can't tell if that's damage or a livery. And there you go, as that is going to be Baldwin crossing the line. Alistair Baldwin. That is quali over. And we jump up to the top to see that one and only, he's continuing his trend from his last round. But James Hartnell is going to be taking it, along with Richard Gasson in P2, David Lindblom in P3, Dan Moffat in P4, and then Dave Marsh in P5. Looking at the silver class, you've got Carl Larson. He wants to bounce back from his 15-point penalty and make some moves. So he is leading the silver class with Adam Rios just behind by a scarce margin. Then you've got Ostracharge in P9 and Becchetti in P10. Francesco Becchetti. There we go. Got Ed Brown. And then looking down into the bronze class, you've got Justin Cutler continuing his spot in P1 by getting best in class in quali. So he's going to be seeing himself in a very strong position, along with Dan Pichichi, who did win the last race but got a 15-point penalty. Dropped him down into P2, and P2 is where he's going to be for the amateur/bronze class. But that's your overall standings, folks. And we're going to take a short intermission while we get ready for race time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And you can see here, folks, we have the beautiful shot of the cars waiting to go racing. Now, you know the rules by now, but in case you don't, we've got the formation lap. Then you're cruising down to 60 kilometers an hour for the start-finish line. And then after that point, once we've got to the GT line or the sort of formation, then we'll get the green flag. We will go and we'll have a 60-minute race. You've got one mandatory pit stop of 25 seconds, 30 seconds if you take some extra tyres too. So the tyre management and the overall pace is going to be your deciding factor of whether you make that strategy call. And looks like very soon we are going racing. So once again, folks, like we did last time out, let us know who you are thinking for winner of the gold class, winner of the silver class, and winner for the bronze. And don't forget, if you love what we do here, make sure you give us a little bit of support. It goes a long way. Trust us here. It goes a long way, and it means a lot to us at the team. So every little like, every little share, and every new member who joins us up on the Facebook and Discord, we'd be happy to have you. Now you can see everyone is getting themselves ready and ready to go. We start ourselves off from the helicam. As we can see, everyone is getting themselves in the mindset to go racing. It's looking like great conditions for a race today. 3 PM, 24 degrees track surface temps, 17 degrees ambient, and a mild crosswind, but just 1 kilometer an hour. So pitch sensitive aero setups can breathe a little bit easier, knowing that they're not going to have to deal with some crosswinds. The ambient temp also means that cooling is going to be less of an issue because the track is going to be hot. Those tyres can really grip up. But in the same light, will they be able to manage the tyre temps and not overcook them? A little bit of blistering and a bad thermal management could result in some losses of grip if you're not careful. It's a big juggling act here in sim racing. It really is a big juggling act of many, many factors. And this is where the skill lies. The skill, as we are about to see unfold, is the ability to race and juggle all these things in real time. Tenths of a second, fractions of a second can be what separates a good driver from a truly great one. And as well as having a good time, a great time going racing, with some great racers and crowds, we also want to see who can put it down on track. And yes, imagine the scenes for a full formation lap at the Nordschleife. You see, looking around the field, some drivers trying to modulate their speed, do a little bit of weaving, just try and generate some heat in those tyres. They have got a little bit of track evolution on their side, although saying that, it looks like there has been contact a little bit further up during formation. That is going to be Dave Marsh currently in P5, with Engdahl getting dangerously close. Dangerously close here in the formation. Hopefully there wasn't any contact, because some early stage damage could really put a dent in your race strategy. We are just moments away now. Remember, 60 kilometers an hour formation. And valuable points on the line. Up to 65 points on the line, remember, folks. So a good performance could really upswing your championship run. But also, keep it clean. Keep it clean is the name of the game. We want to have a good race, but we want to have a respectful one. And points penalties have been awarded to drivers who have been dirty, as seen by our current standings. But here we go. James Hartnell leads the pack, the double formation, and everyone is now getting in said formation, ready for the green flag to drop. Jump on board with Dan Moffat, hopefully to get a good eye on the action. And here we go. It's time to go racing. It is Group 1. It is Round 2. It is Spa-Francorchamps. It's a beautiful day for racing. The track is officially hot, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, it is time to go racing, and immediately, it's a great getaway from James Hartnell. He's going to immediately stake his control to Eau Rouge and Radillon. Too wide for the majority of the sector here. Everyone's trying to find a little bit of space. Couple of drivers going for a little bit of an extension here. They're going to look for any opportunities they can. Everyone is looking for any space that they can make. We've got Ed Brown, who's kind of playing spectator to a massive fight that's about to kick off in the mid-pack. As you can see, Richard Cook going on the inside, and the timing board is going absolutely crazy. Oh, big slide from Ed Brown there. Oh, keep it close, keep it stopped. That could have gone very badly. That was a good catch by him. We've got James Payton down at P14. Looking for an opportunity to get around some other cars, because looking at the rest of the field, they could have a potential really big breakaway. If the mid-pack is fighting, then they haven't got anything to worry about up top. They can just start running away, as we've seen with Hartnell. He's currently 1.2 seconds clear of Gasson, and I don't know how close that gap is going to be in a couple laps' time. You can just see in the background, that is Waite also ducking off a bit. Curiously, Lenatus has got a drive through. He's got a drive-through penalty. Don't really know what's happened there. Potentially a formation lap infringement. See a potential move brewing from Serrano, and a driver that we have seen be pushing before. He's in the M4. Fairly strong car, but does overextend. Extend just a little bit too much here. But at the top, we have a battle between the two silver class drivers. There's Adam Rios. He's going to be making a move on Larson. Larson has to go defensive. There's contact between the two into the bus stop chicane. Rios is going to remain committed. He has the line, and oh, that's major contact. That is major contact from Adam Rios there. Or it could be either way. Let's take it from the helicam. You can see just a bit of an extension. Rios remains committed and goes very narrow and just tips the back of his compatriot there. That is going to be brutal, because that is sort of rival on track all the way down into that danger zone. And I'm sure the apology channel is going to get a new entry after that one. We look a bit further up, we can just see in the distance, that's going to be Lindblom and Moffat looking for a challenge against one another. With Hartnell 1.7 seconds clear and looking to have a fairly strong stake on the race. James Payton now down in P13. As we can see, Colin McNair just a little bit further up in that McLaren, looking very sharp, I must say. Scott Cameron is another one, making a move here. Or should I say no, that is actually... You know who that is? That is Craig Starkey, who just made a move on Cameron. That's my mistake. But look at these drivers go. Full commitment through Pouon. Now, as the race progresses, they're going to have a little bit of rubbering in, and they can lean into the tyres a bit more, but it's also going to come with marbles on the offsides of the track. So commit to your line, but if you get the wrong one, you could see a big loss in grip and could see you off even in the gravel traps. Being careful, being patient, that is the name of the game. And then Dan Moffat, we see up in P4, champion of the pro class back in season 4, and looking to take some names once again. You can see he's shaping up for a challenge on Lindblom. He's looking for opportunities, but he's not quite got the proximity yet. So right now, he's just weighing up his options. I think he's just, weighing up his options at this point in the race. He knows that it's very early days, but he cannot really be affording to do anything drastic, so take your time. We have a drop in position from Bywater. I think he misjudged his corner and saw him just yielding and falling down to Scotty here. Well, a couple of cars already in the pit lane, namely Sean O'Neill. He's down in pits. He doesn't look like he's coming out. I'm not sure if he suffered any damage at all. We've got Gary Barham down in P31. Looking for some moves. Orouge and Radion can be a really great setup for an overtake if you play your cards right and you have the right amount of speed. You can see tailing very close to Bennett. He's not got the proximity, but has he got the gumption and has he got the guts? He's going to play it safe. He's going to live to fight another day. You see more cars flying around the Belgian circuit. This is that neutral phase where everyone has found their groove, they're finding their places, and nobody wants to do anything too drastic because it is still early days. We've only just done 5 minutes of a 60-minute session. So taking your time, measuring your moves, is where you are going to find the best success. Because a great driver is not the one who knows how fast they can race, but knowing when is the right time to go fast. That is the big differentiator. Knowing the right timings, the strategy, knowing your opponent can't take some recourse, but we do have a yellow, and that is Reed. Let's see what just happened here. Get a bit of an action replay on the helicam, and oh, looks like he just went straight on. I wonder if that was a retirement from Reed there. Doesn't seem to look like it. And as we take a leap back through the time machine and back to present day, we jump in to see a massive pile of cars firing through the bus stop chicane. We've got an entire brawl in the mid-pack here. Because anything all the way up to, I'd even say P12, could be up for grabs depending on what these few drivers in this stack do next. Alistair Baldwin chasing down Pedro Serrano. Looking very nervous. Oh, Pedro Serrano got... Oh, that could have got very dicey, but he saves it. It goes to the infield. I wonder if he's going to keep the position or whether he's going to yield it, given he retained it off track. There's a bit of a question there. But what has happened? That was a Mercedes there. I wonder what we just saw. That was Giles. See, we got battles all up the field, and that is Wayne Bennett going straight off at the end of the Kemmel Straight. He's in the Lacombe infield. And same goes with Raul Pasta. Don't know what's going on with some of these cars, but they are struggling and struggling hard. Carl Lawson on Craig Starkey, making a very, very nice move, I have to say. That was a very well thought out, very well strategized through Pouon. Just full commit, and it shows. Nicely done for the Ferrari. A bit further up in the field. Oh, as we see just in the background, That was, I believe... Yeah, I'm struggling to keep track of who that is. That's a Mercedes. I wonder if they are a driver who's a lap down, because I'm really struggling to see. Yeah, that is Jordan McNair. He's on blue flags. He's a lap down. So he's trying to yield to all the cars in, an overly generous way, I'd say. See Trevor White and Pichichi getting very close. Almost a little too close for comfort. Down into the bus stop, you can see they were trying to play a little bit of breaking chicken, and Waite was having none of it. He went narrow. Almost looking like they were coming together for a second, but gladly, no one did anything of the sort. We look a bit further up and we see in the top 10 we have got Richard Cook right on the tail of Bichetti. Is he going to go for a move hit? Yes, he is. Down the Kemmel Straight, he's going to be giving it everything. It's going to be into the inside line of turn 7. Now, who is going to brake later? Who is going to yield? Richard Cook with a very good attack, very good line there. That is going to be Bichetti dropping down to P9 with a very clean overtake. A little bit of a wiggle from behind. You just see there, that was Saunders in the 110 Aston Martin. A little bit of a nervous wiggle there, but keeps it together very nicely. Now here's where we see a little bit of a second pack beginning to form, in fact, because you have, at the top end, you got James Hartnell. He's 2.5 seconds clear of the next driver in the field. Then you have Richard Gasson, a very strong driver who is looking comfortable in that Lamborghini. You've got Lindblom just behind, Dan Moffat, and then Dave Marsh rounds off our, I guess, split one we're seeing start to form here. Because a 4-second gap behind is Adam Rios, looking very calm, very composed, despite the pressure he's facing from the rear. You've got Ostracharge behind him, you've got Cook behind him, Bichetti, Saunders, all within half a second of each other. So these top 10 spots are very much in flux. P6 to P10, watch this space, folks. But looking a bit further down, we see a even tighter split, because that's Pedro Serrano at the back of Pachichi with Alistair Baldwin almost looking even closer. Now, is anyone going to be going for some moves? Because it's looking like this is anyone's spot. It's looking like anyone's game for this position here. And that is going to be Saunders, interestingly. They're in the pit. Saunders is in the pit. Very bizarre indeed. A very early shot. I wonder if that's a kind of strategic dodge of some kind. But we see Richard Cook going for another move. This time it's on Ostracharz. We're seeing the Kemmel Straight be a little bit of a favourite when it comes to overtakes. You can see a very nice little bit of overspeed there. Is going to see the 720S jump into P7. I don't think the Porsche's giving up, though. You can see how close he's getting. He's not giving that position without a fight. Oh, big slide there from Richard Cook. That looked like a little bit of slip angle. Not sure you can get away with that in this car. And you can see Ostracharz getting so close through Buon. So close indeed. Both just angling up moves on one another. Ostracharz trying to get on Cook, but Bichetti is not too far behind. It's going to be a very, very interesting race ahead, folks. Back on the board with Pedro Serrano, which looks like to be the closest matter on track right now. And you have got a big overextension coming in from Pacici. Now this could be the BMW's chance. Is he going to capitalize on this? We're coming up to Blanchimont. He's going to be heading on the inside. He's going to be laying claim to the apex, but he just takes a bit too much apex. He has to yield. He loses too much speed and he's not going to get it. But on the inside, nearly is Larson. Nearly going for a move there. He gets the switchback through the bus stop as Serrano goes very wide. Is Larson going to be getting the place this lap? He remains committed. He's on the outside of the BMW. I think once again he's going for that switchback strategy. He's not letting him go. He's not giving an inch, but someone's going to have to give very soon because we're coming up to Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Someone has to yield. I think it's going to have to be Larson, but he's still maintaining such a close proximity. He's practically living and breathing in that BMW slipstream. Now it's time to pick a side. Time to pick who and what kind of driver you want to be. Larson's got a very difficult proposition on his hands. Be aggressive, potentially lose out to Baldwin, but also have a chance of getting P15. Or play it safe, lock in 16, and rely on the pressure for your opponent to then make a mistake. Because we've seen Serrano is not immune to the off-track excursions. Even exemplified right there with a very, very wide exit coming out at turn 11. There's a little bit of fighting further down the field. You can see that Aldhouse has dropped down behind Gary Barham and yielded P29 to the Budweiser adorned McLaren. The eyes are on that mid-pack battle. We're going to quickly check in and see what's happening for our top 10 spots, and you can see the gap has widened, and not in an insubstantial amount either. Time will tell who will come out on top. A bit further. Oh, we come right back as Blanchimont seems to be a bit of a problem corner for Pedro Serrano. I wonder just how hard he's pushing his car right now to try and keep pace, because it seems like he really is on that ragged edge. To the point where Larson is breathing down his neck and Pacici is starting to get away. You can see that gap has nearly come up to about a second. While things have balanced out somewhat, folks, a quick reminder of the standings. So we have Hartnell up on top, Gasson, Lindholm, Moffat, Marsh, Rios, Cook, Ostrachaz, Bichetti, and then you can see the rest of the field start to form itself out. But time is of the essence. We can't stay looking at that for too long, because we're seeing, oh, that's going to be a little bit of an issue for Serrano. Oh, that's nearly contact. That is nearly contact between the two. Cole Larson, he's trying to retain that position. He's earned it. He saw Serrano go off track, but Serrano is not giving it at all. He's not giving an inch. In fact, he's had a little bit of a snap, and now he is squarely in Baldwin's crosshairs. They're going to continue their fight as Serrano is dropping down into P17 now, with Craig Starkey also looking for a piece of the pie. Eventually, the walls had to crack, and we've seen that drop coming in from Serrano with a great drive he's had nonetheless up to this point. You can only defend or attack for so long before you have to yield and take your foot off the pedal a little bit. Just a little. We look up further, we look up top, Ostrachaz P8 looking to take the fight to Richard Cook. Now, is he going to go for the bus stop chicane? Or is he just going to keep it tight and then go for the Kemmel straight? Let's hop on board and see. Is he going for a little bit different of a line? He's trying to keep out of that dirty air. He doesn't want the dirty air to disrupt his aerodynamics. This is why we see some drivers dip out half the car or something thereabouts when they are chasing through the corner. It disrupts your cooling, it disrupts your aero, you don't get as much grip, and before long, your components can start to overheat if you stay in slip too long. So far, Charles, he kept it very tight to the back of Richard Cook, and are we going to see that commitment be rewarded with the position? Down the Kemmel straight though, the McLaren looks so powerful. It looks very powerful indeed. We look to our podium positions and we see, in sort of uncharacteristic fashion, not that we were used to, we can see a potential battle starting to form. Gasson v Lindblom. Truly two formidable drivers, as we've seen be proven thus far. Drivers that need to keep their wits about them, however, as one false move could cost them dearly. But we observe and we see what they can do next. Ostrachel is also looking like a little bit of a rock and a hard place situation going on for him. He defends or he attacks. He's got to find that balancing point. That tipping point is looking like a real hard thing to juggle. Because Bichetti and Cook are very strong drivers in and of themselves. I wonder what his strategic play is. Because in his position, I would certainly be thinking about potentially even when to take my pit stop. Because my pit stop could get me out of a lot of trouble by getting myself in some dirty air. But saying that, we've just had a little bit of a hiccup. And in a hiccup, I mean Richard Cook, because just as we were saying that, it briefly showed yellow. I thought he'd had an off, but turns out he's just gone into the pits. Jorge Saloma, P25. He was defending against, I believe that was, yeah, that was defending against Scotty. They couldn't get it through the last chicane, and now Barham is on his tail. We've come to the sort of first 20 minutes, coming up to half hour of the race here. And now is the time where drivers are starting to consider the prospect of pitting. The right time to pit can make or break your race strategy. Because if you pit at the wrong time and you get yourself into traffic, you could be in some serious trouble. Any advantage you would have gained from some clean air is immediately nullified, if not made worse. Oh, what's happened to Giles? What's happened to Giles? Let's take a quick look back. And oh, you can just see Eau Rouge and Bradion. He's gone into the wall hard. That is a brutal happenstance for him there. He's not going to be happy with that at all. He's going to have to limp that car back into the pits. And I'm not surprised if he's got some damage on him. Straight down to the lower end of the field, I'm afraid. The lower echelons will host you quite comfortably. We look a bit further up and we see Gary Barham, currently P23. And after witnessing what happened ahead with Scotty and Saloma, I think he wants his own go. He wants to stab at that beautiful 22. And he wants it yesterday. He wants it now, and he's been waiting long enough. You can see how hard he's pushing that car. Coming right into the back of him. Even looks like he's yielding slightly. Here we are, Blanchimont. I think he knows he has the pace. You can see him yield a little bit much through there. He just doesn't want to get into trouble. Wait for Saloma's moves. See what he does and then react accordingly. That is the name of the game. Barham, though, a little bit too much on the curb. And that did cost him a bit of exit speed. That exit could have been crucial to getting him a move through La Source. But this time, not to be. You've got a few other cars who have headed into the pit lane. For example, Greg Starkey is in the pits now. And we are getting to that stage where the majority of drivers are taking stops. We're also seeing a couple of drivers overextend. So Barham did overextend. He has got his lap time flagged. Not that it's quali, but he has overextended. And you can see he's going for the move regardless on Saloma, but he overcooks it. He loses the rear. He's in the wall. And he's got to be very careful here. He cannot reverse out onto track. That would be a major, major safety concern. Luckily, he gets himself across Lacombe and he gets himself into the infield just in time, unfortunately, to spin again. He needs to get that car the right way round and back on track fast if he wants to preserve any inkling of a position. And no, I think we're gonna leave him. I think we're gonna leave him for now. It was difficult to watch as you go up to P10 with our current leader of the bronze class. It's going to be Justin Cutler. P10 is a very, very strong achievement, especially considering that he should technically be much lower down. We saw this before and we're seeing it again. We're seeing drivers of the silver and bronze classes really punch above their relative weights in terms of pace, in terms of racecraft being on full display. It really is some great stuff to see. See, Bacici was the on-track winner, but P2 in bronze class now heading into the pits. A few more drivers thinking of doing the same very soon. James Payton, you can see coming down the straight, heading into Radiant, heading into Eau Rouge. Right now, I think he's just trying to chase down the Porsche of weight. And you see a little bit of a blue flag moment happening behind as Larson has to get around another car. GG is going to be playing his cards very carefully. You can see Leonardus is getting past Gary Barham as Barham has no choice after that incident but to head into the pits. I think his car has taken some severe damage through all of that. You can see it's looking a little beat up. It's looking a little bit worse for wear. Unfortunate to see from him, but hopefully he gets back up on his feet fairly quick. Back to James Payton here, and you can see the determination, the tenacity displayed in his driving. That Porsche is firmly in his sights, and he does not want to let him go. I would not be surprised if he wanted to get this lap done, or get this move done a few laps ago. But alas, time is of the essence. And you can see a massive chunk of the top end of the field is now heading into the pits. You can see quite a lot of cars, including the race leader, James Hartnell, is now in. And that is going to lend some serious points positions, at least for now, to the rest of the field. Lindblom currently leads with a 1.5 second gap to Gasson, followed by a 14.5 second gap. So we've just seen Gasson exit the Kemmel Straight. By comparison, Ostracels was just starting it. That goes to show the kind of distance that we're playing with here. Big swathe of drivers now heading into the pit. A few more down in the mid-pack are following suit. As we can see, a big indication, about 9-10 drivers on screen who are heading in pits. And a massive stack of them are going to be coming out fairly soon. Let's look and see where the top runners are coming out. You can see they're all going to be coming out about the same time, but who is going to be our lucky driver when they all are released in unison? You can see this Dave Marsh. Dave Marsh is out. I think he's one of the first out of that group, out of that set. Adam Rios is next. And a couple more are going to be heading out. That's Trevor Waite. But just ahead of him, it's going to be Justin Cutler. And then finally, you have Serrano, Homer, Darky going by, Baldwin going by, and Hartnell has been released and is already out, about to attack Puol. Now, Hartnell is still the net leader of this race, have no mistake. Because you can see everyone above him on the timing sheets has got himself a pit stop still to take. As we see from the likes of Paul Hamby heading in alongside Stevens, and a very large chunk of the racers out on track. So Lindblom, our previous leader, along with Gasson in P2, both in the pits now for their mandatory stop. Ostrastars is going to be the driver who leads, at least for now. But the rest of the field will not take so kindly to the big swing and push. Will we see some potential upsets? Because a huge chunk of the field has gone in. Gabbert is currently leading the bronze class, as everyone else has taken their stops. But some big switcheroos, big switch arounds. For instance, currently leading the silver class, Colin McNair, our trusty leader. Coming out the pits, who is it going to be? None other than Lindblom and Gasson. They're going to be coming out actually very close to one another. Let them rejoin the track. And seeing who is going to be the first to properly open the taps. I don't know, I don't see anyone making any particularly big moves. But what I do know is that in the mid-pack, things are very soon going to be heating up once again. You got Peyton and Waite reignited a very familiar battle at that. I am very much excited, very much curious to see who the winner of this little altercation is going to be, because Peyton, to their credit, even though they've been behind and are about teetering on the second barrier, have really put up a good fight. They really have pushed hard. You can see Carl Larson is now heading into the pits. John Gabbett is going to be up in P4. 42 seconds behind Colin McNair. Let's see if there's going to be a little bit of a battle kicking off, because we just seen Paul Hamby be overtaken by Molino, and Molino could, by all means, hunt the position back down. But just behind is going to be Scott Cameron. Scott Cameron has no interest in messing around. They know what they want. What they want is that position. They may be a little bit further from it now than they'd like, but it is very precisely in the crosshairs. You can see Larson rejoining just in time to slot himself behind Starkey and Baldwin. So Craig Starkey and Alistair Baldwin have got themselves P16 and P17 respectively. Scott Cameron, he's going to be looking for it. I think he might be going for it. Yes, no, very close indeed. Very, very close indeed. He's not quite gone for it yet. He's peeking up his rear, all right. He really is peeking up his rear. But it's not going to be just yet that it happens. And Saloma, drive-through penalty. When did that come about? Why did that come about? Love to know just what kicked off there for such a circumstance to take place. There you go, Ostrasaz is in the pits along with Bichetti and Gabbett. We're leaving just Colin McNair, the only car yet to take a stop. The only car that remains unstopped and unrefueled. So he has a chance to potentially expend a little bit more resource to get that much further into clean air. His car is lower weight. He could overcook it a bit if he's not careful. But he has an opportunity here. He really does have a good opportunity. Will he take it? Is the question on my mind, and no doubt on yours. We jump back on board with Ostrasaz. We see he's going to be back in, but not where he'd necessarily like, because he's down in P9 again. He's down in P9. Not the happiest bunny about it, I don't think. And he's got Saunders very close, although Saunders cut through Lecombe. So I don't think they're going to be getting much of an advantage there. We jump on board to the helicam, try and get a bit of a wider scope of what's going on. See, Scott Cameron, I think, has just dropped down a little position. It's Robert Homer. I wonder if we can see a little bit further back just sort of what happened. And, oh, there you go. That is the ticket. We can see he just didn't judge O'Rouge and Radion quite right. He didn't get the exit speed, and he yielded the position to the silver class driver. There's a long replay timer. Wowee. Looks like I'm going to have to adjust that. So apologies going for a little bit quiet there. I had a little bit of a microphone issue. Not really sure what happened. Here we are. We finally see Colin McNair. He's pitted. And where is he going to come out? Because he's done pretty good on his timings. He's going to be coming out in a fairly respectable position. He's going to be P10. And in a bit of a space of his own, he's got some time to breathe. He's not going to be under any immediate pressure. I think that's the key here. Get your chance to settle into the crowd, settle into the race, especially after a pit stop, and you will have a much easier time. You can see a very hungry Bichetti in the background, pushing every inch of the track limits to try and gain valuable time in that Mercedes. We come to the last 20 minutes of the race tonight, folks. Everyone has taken their stops and the timing boards are lighting up now with drivers who are willing to give it absolutely everything to push themselves and their cars to the limit. Drivers like Carl Larson, who are chasing down Alistair Baldwin and proving just how much they want that P16. As we take a bit of a higher shot here, he did look down the inside. Didn't quite get much of an angle on him. But we could see some action happening here. A little bit of fireworks. Blanchimont coming up. He looks right. Then he looks left. He pokes his nose in. He spots an opportunity. It's getting very close. Yields a little bit. Make sure he's playing it safe still. Doesn't want any unnecessary contact. Down to bus stop. And a little bit of a deeper run from Alistair Baldwin could yield an opportunity. Better exit from here from Carl Larson, as he's just done here. Could net him the position heading into La Source. They're parallel, side by side as they complete their lap. Next move dictates everything, because whoever comes out on top here is going to have control through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Very good exit once again from Carl Larson. Once again getting the switchback. He's going to have the right side, and whoever has the right side tends to be the one in control. But let's see here. Who is going to yield? I don't think either of them are. Eau Rouge and Raidillon here. In fact, there's going to be a bit of an extension coming out for Rom Baldwin. And we see also Bichetti. I think something happened to Bichetti here. You can see he lost it through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Nearly getting picked up by another car. Just comes out through the pit line. Managed to keep himself out of trouble, at least in a major way. But yeah, that is sad to see. And we just missed out on another moment here, as we're going to hit the replay cameras again. And oh, that's two cars completely off the side, because that was Serrano. And yeah, you can see Larson. He kind of gets collected in all of this. He's the biggest loser because he drops down from a very respectable, good position. He's all the way down to P18 now. He's going to have to do all that work again, potentially even with damage. I do feel for him. The number 619 car of Larson. P7 in class with Adam Rios currently in P6 in the overall. A very good drive thus far. He's done a very good job overall thus far. We've got Justin Cutler, who is potentially under some threat here. A little bit slow on the bus stop. Doesn't quite get the speed that he wants. And now, it's looking like Justin could be having to deal with a bit of an on-track fight. Meanwhile, Carl Larson's case, he was out for revenge. He wants this place back. He's got Pichichi in the bronze class breathing down his neck from behind. So he knows that any key mistakes here could land him even further down the order. Carl Larson is a hungry driver. They want those positions back. I know without a doubt he's going to be frustrated about the fact he lost those spots. And so the crusade for revenge begins, but not before he can fend off Pacici in the 81 car. He's got the straight line. He got it down the camel straight. He's going to have the inside. Is he going to brake a little bit later? He's going to put his nose in, but the handling of the Ferrari is going to carry it through. And through Lecombe into Bruxelles is going to be P18, reserved for another day. Not today, Pacici, I'm afraid. He's got bigger fish to fry. Lawson in the 619 car, doing very, very good and making the best of his situation. As always, there are winners and losers in racing. It's a known fact, it's a brutal fact, but one that we must accept at the end of the day. How you respond and how you make the most of the hand that you're dealt when those moments come up, that is what separates you as a strong-willed, resilient and respectful driver. I can see Larson here. He's not giving up. He's pushing. He's continuing to put that good fight in. We have Baghetti, who's also starting to put some pressure on Alistair Baldwin. And looks to be the one to watch coming up to Blanchimont. Is there going to be any heroics? Are we going to see any heroics? Alexander Votstar. Bus stop now. Late on the brakes. Is going to be that Mercedes, but Baghetti could have overcooked it. No! Excellent move there from Baghetti. Perfect timing on the brakes because Baldwin tried to coax him out. He tried to go on the inside, and Baghetti had the perfect measure of him. That was excellent stuff. Well done. Very clean and very classy move from the Mercedes AMG to take P16. He's definitely proving why he's got that gold class badge, alright. But Larson is also breathing down the neck of Alistair Baldwin. We come back to familiar territory. And back to a driver who wants that shot, that parting shot at redemption. Both Ferraris, even keel. It's only setups and only drive separating the two. And down into Lecombe. That healthy bit of overspeed is going to see Larson secure P17 in a very good display. See, this is the kind of racing we love to see. Just hard but fair racing. We have 13 minutes on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. Things are looking very strong for a few drivers. A little bit harder for some others, but everyone is putting in their A game tonight. That is very clear. We are on board with Hamby for a second, but Lenatus, remember the driver who started with the drive-through penalty? They're currently in P30, and they've just made a very nice move against Bywater to take P29. Bruxelles seems to be another good spot where drivers are making some overtakes. Because while we don't usually see it be the point of major action, Lenatus has taken it. He's taken the challenge, and he said, actually, you know what, let's see if I can make this work. Lo and behold, he has. You can see Bywater a little bit further behind, in fact struggling to keep pace with his fellow silver class car. A very clean sector. Could see him seal it. Chi-Chi is another one who is going to be looking for a position. the back of Baldwin. Baldwin could have the measure of him in the corners, but with a bit of slipstream, Pachichi can make up some time. Down Kemmel Straight. Very nicely done, about 260 kilometers an hour. Big rear slip coming in from Baldwin. But because the through Lacombe couldn't really do anything to capitalise on it. BGG. Number 81 car. P2 in the bronze class. And once again putting up a very good fight against some formidable opponents. I don't think it can be understated the driving that Pachichi's putting on in order to run toe-to-toe with opponents 2 classes above him. And while the classes aren't the be-all and end-all, they certainly are a measure of talent. And we're seeing some untapped talent coming from some of the Reds. Ostrachar's up in P8. But could be seen to make that P7 very soon because he got very close to Richard Cook going through Blanchimont. Are we going to see that conversion happen in the next lap or so? Let's find out. Let's wait and see. You can see Ostrachar's going to the left looking for a potential opportunity. Doesn't quite see. Almost akin to peeking around a fence looking for the ball that you want on the other side. He's looking for that lucrative P7 that awaits him. It hasn't quite materialised yet, but now was as good a time as any, though he is against the 720S, which has proven itself to be quite a strong car in this section of the track in particular. A little bit of a slip, though, from Cook is going to see Ostrachar's make up some time. And remember, the Porsche, you can definitely lean on it through the corners. I would even say, although very risky, you could take a little bit of slip angle if you wanted to and still get away with minimal time losses. It's that kind of car, the rear distribution of the weight, even though the car technically is mid-engined, does see some big benefits when it comes to car stability. We are through Pouhon now. You can see they've both kept each other just within a few tenths. And one corner does not the move make. It's about nailing the next section of corners right. 3, 4. And having the opportunity to actually commit the move to it. It's one thing to have the pace. But as you can see here, that we're about to come up to Blanchimont once again. Pace is one thing, racecraft is another, but connecting it with the right move at the right time, it is a dark art that many can easily struggle with. I don't think Ostrachar's is pushing too hard to get the move done, however, because he knows that in due time, as I think we've seen there, a mistake, a little bit of overcorrection, a little bit of overcompensation could see him go neck and neck as we head down into La Source. Start-finish straight. It's going to be a tight one through this next corner here. As you can see, an excellent switch back from Ostrachar's. It's going to see him commit and take that P7 spot from the McLaren. Amazing display. Perfectly timed. Just take it straight through. And as we can see, going up the Kemmel Straight, oh, there is a yellow flag. There is a yellow flag. What happened to McNair? He made contact with, I think that is Barham. I believe that is Barham. But yes, he made contact with one of the McLarens. So he had to get himself out into the pits. That is a brutal happenstance. That is unfortunate to see. Unfortunate indeed. Yeah, you can see Ostrachar's made that move work and made it work beautifully. Please ignore the artifacting of the trees in the background. Backed up into P20. We have Luciano Molino, Scuderia Ferrari, and Ed at Aldhouse, I think, sped in the pit lane because they have got themselves a drive-through. I think that was a speeding under pit lane infraction. Unfortunately for them, that is going to be a dire, dire consequence indeed. But Molino's one to keep an eye out for here. With Molino, you can see he's keeping an eye to the back of Stevens. Very much wants that position, wants that moved up. The track is rubbered in, so he cannot afford to take too much of a risk, and the track temps are slightly dropping, though that could be okay for temperature control. The big thing here is the crosswind, 2 kilometers an hour. Although very slow in actual wind terms, when you're talking these speeds, it could have a little, well, a not insubstantial impact on your downforce. Manipulation of the air is everything to these cars. Getting the grip through these high-speed corners, like Blanchimont, it's a pretty key factor of your car. See both of them coming up to a gaggle of other drivers, and I think Molino could be taking an opportunity out of Stevens' difficulty to navigate. Yes, no, maybe. We're also seeing a little bit of a tussle further up as Bachetti is going to be dropping down to Lawson. Let's get a little bit of a replay and just see what happened there. They had the drag race down into La Source, and as we've seen many times before, when it comes to the corners, that Ferrari is not to be trifled with. He's done a very good job of it, and Lawson is in 16th. In 16th in a very strong and competent fashion too. James Payton continues to chase down another car, but this time it is Justin Cutler, the leader of the bronze class by a fairly substantial margin, I might add. Next driver in the bronze class is over 10 seconds away. So very substantial timing-wise. You cannot just make up that time overnight. You've got to plan that over a course of a race. And unfortunately for him, we have got 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. The clock is ticking. And this is where we see any kind of what I like to dub a Hail Mary moments start to come to fruition. When the drivers know they are up against the clock, they will do anything sometimes to get those positions secured. Not necessarily do anything, perhaps a little bit of an exaggeration. However, the shackles are off, because they know if they don't make that move now, they could never get that chance this race, and they'd have to wait till next week to recover their points losses. Like we could see with Molino here, as he's getting ever closer to Stevens' position. Playing it safe for now, but looking at the opportunities, goes a little bit narrower. Oh, that's contact though, that's tap in the rear, that's spun Stevens round. And that's a very narrow dodge there coming from... Wow, oh, that was Ed Brown nearly going into the McLaren of Stevens. That could have got very bad. That really could have gone bad. So quick thinking on the other drivers coming through there to be able to dodge that. Unfortunately, that is certainly going to get scrutinized post-race. I don't have a doubt in my mind. And that ruined what could have been a really good drive coming in from the Ferrari. But a very good drive from another Ferrari is going to be Larson. What a move through Lecombe. Or Lecombe. How do you pronounce it, chat? How do you pronounce it? I still get told different things to this day. Lecombe, Lecombe, tomato, potato. Hakuna Matata. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Now, I think Larson is feeling pretty Hakuna Matata right about now. The leader's on the final lap, as you hear from the radio call. And he just secured what I think is one of the tightest moves I have seen through that section. In all my time casting, I don't really see moves like that. But occasionally they come out. And I think Larson is going to feel very vindicated after what happened earlier that caused him to drop down to P18. Very vindicated indeed. See a yellow flag briefly coming out, because that's Pichichi. What has happened to Pichichi? Yeah, Pichichi has just gone off. It's just gone off at Puon, and he's not doing anything. Yeah, he's not doing anything. You see James Payton has overtaken Cutler, but I think, as we just saw from the replay before it abruptly cut back to real time, I believe that might have been through a track extension. So let's see what happens as of now, because the final few seconds are about to come clear. And as the timer drops to 0, one driver stands above them all. Oh, wait, it's getting a drive-through. Colin McNair has lost it coming into Lecom. Unfortunate for him, he needs to spin it round. He doesn't need to get himself into any trouble, as Waite is going to be pulling off to the other side of Lecom and jumping into the pits. He got a drive-through and he just decided, nah, he's had enough. But there you go, 25 laps to his name, 26 across the line. James Hartnell, with an amazing performance out in Silverstone, continues his winning streak here in Spa-Francorchamps. He's done an amazing job controlling the race. Very quiet race for him, but as far as performances go, the best he can have. Winner of Group 1, Round 2. Piles it into the wall in celebration. And then you can see the rest of the field start to come through. Gasson and Lindblom. Ostristars up in P7. Doesn't need to fight given Rios is in a separate class. But Rios, an amazing job as well. Really hanging it with some of the top brass. And despite being in the silver class, punching well within their ranks to take an overall P6 home. Amazing stuff. Also coming a bit further down, you can see the other drivers making it through. It's going to be Justin Cutler with the win on the bronze class, the provisional win. And what a drive it has been for him. Coming across to P11. Amazing, amazing stuff from them all here. And as the rest of the field follows through, rolls in home. Oh, yellow flag coming from Oscom. I wonder if he's had a bit of an issue. But now rest of the field sails in. John Gabbett, P25. Much further down. And the other cars are coming through in following suit. Final few races across the line. And Bywater comes in to finish. Hartnell, a very strong win. And you can hear the fireworks going in the background. As that is race done. And race done. It is settled. The dust is settling. And that is time. So, with everyone's performances all finished up. That is where we leave things for tonight. We're just waiting for the final lock-in. Waiting for the final lock-in of the race standings for the race session to officially conclude. And there you have it, folks. Hotnell, Lindblom, Gasson, Moffat and Marsh top 5 in the gold class, with Rios coming in P6, displacing the field in that top 10. Ostrachel's, Cook, Saunders, Peyton, Cutler, McNair, Starkey, Larson, Serrano, Bichetti, Baldwin, Homer, Brown, and then Molino make it to 20. And then if we jump a bit further down, we can see Hamby, Cameron, Stephen, Scotty, Gavitt, Leonardus, Bywater, Waite, Althouse, Saloma, Pachichi, Barham, O'Neill, Arscombe, Pastor, McNair, and then Giles, Howells, Bennett, Engdahl, and Reed rounding us off. So whether you finished the race or not tonight, folks, you did a grand job. If you're one of the drivers or you're helping one of the drivers out, you did an amazing job. You should give yourself a pat on the back. So with everything being done here tonight at Spa, you want to join us same time tomorrow, because same time tomorrow is Group 2. Same electrifying racing, same SimSeniors, just more and more of it. But we round ourselves off here tonight, folks, and be sure if you enjoyed tonight, you like the stream, you give us that bit of support, that little nod, little thumbs up to say, hey, we did a good job. And now that is going to be me, Sappy, signing off for the night. See you same time tomorrow, folks, for Group 2 of Spa. It's going to be great, and we'll see you then.